of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
This nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
That this nation, under God, shall have a new birth of freedom.
The nation shall have a new birth of freedom.
There's no meaning to any of this, so I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join, and here I am. I mean, you got to admit it's completely meaningless.
What you do in life chooses you. You can choose not to do it. You can choose to try to do something safer. I found myself looking around at one point in a really bleak winter in New York, and it was just so depressing, and I think I needed color.
That the purpose of my life had always been to free people from concern, just like my dad. And when I realized this, I dubbed my new devotion the Church of Freedom from Concern. The Church of FFC. And I dedicated myself to that ministry. What's yours? How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out. As someone who's done what you're about to go and do, I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. But to find real peace, you have to let the armor go. Your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Don't let anything stand in the way of the light that shines through this form. Risk being seen in all of your glory. It's not big enough. This painting is big for a reason. It's called high visibility. It's about picking up the light and daring to be seen. Here's the tricky part. Everyone is attracted to the light. The party host up at the top, who thinks unconsciousness is bliss and is always offering to drink from the bottles that empty you. Misery below her. Despises the light, can't stand when you're doing well, wishes you nothing but the worst. The Queen of Diamonds, under him, needs a king to build her house of cards. And the hollow one down bottom there will cling to your leg and say, please don't leave me behind, for I have abandoned myself. Even those who are closest to you and most in love with you, the people you love most in the world, will find clarity confronting at times. This painting took me thousands of hours to complete. And when I was finished, thank you, thousands of hours, yes. I'll never get them back. I'll never get them back. I worked on this for so long. I was weeks and weeks like a madman alone on a scaffolding. And when I was finished, one of my friends said, this would be a cool blacklight painting. So I started over. Welcome to Burning Man. Some pretty crazy characters up there, but better up there than in here. You know, painting is one of the ways, thank you. Painting is one of the ways I free myself from concern, a way to stop the world through total mental, spiritual, and physical involvement. But even with that comes a feeling of divine dissatisfaction, because ultimately, we're not the avatars we create. We are not the pictures on the film stock. We are the light that shines through. All else is just smoke and mirrors, distracting, but not truly compelling. I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams and wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion.
You can tell what I love by the color of the paintings. You can tell my inner life by the darkness in some of them, and you can tell what I want from the brightness in some of them.
I know you do a lot of painting now. Do you feel like that's your primary creative outlet now?
It is one of them. One of them. Yeah. I mean, you know, I brought a couple.
We have a few of the paintings. Yeah, let's put them up. And now these are these are almost actual size as we're showing them.
This is a piece called "Hooray, We're All Broken," and it represents all the different modes of life and all the different people and all the different things we go through. But it's important to remember, especially for me, I would never show up anywhere if I didn't understand that everyone was broken in some way.
That's me, right?
That's you. Yeah. That's you. That's you inside, Jimmy. That's you inside, a child inside. And no, this is the baby. And basically, it represents form coming out of energy. Is what I believe all of us are. We're just, you know, conscious awareness, dancing for itself for no other reason but to stay amused.
Months ago, after knowing Eckhart Tolle for a while and studying the books, I woke up and I suddenly got it. I understood suddenly how thought was just an illusory thing. And how thought is responsible for, if not all, most of the suffering we experience. And then I suddenly felt like I was looking at these thoughts from another perspective. And I wondered, who is it that's aware that I'm thinking? And suddenly I was thrown into this expansive, amazing feeling of freedom from myself, from my problems. I saw that I was bigger than what I do. I was bigger than my body. I was everything and everyone. I was no longer a fragment of the universe. I was the universe. And ever since that day, I've been trying to get back there.
I spent the other half the time in my bedroom by myself, writing poetry and sketching. I was not the type of kid you could say, as a punishment, go to your room, because my room was heaven to me. My isolation was welcome.
One thing that really struck me, they asked you if you were going to go back to stand-up, and you said something about there's no Jim Carrey to sell anymore. Could you explain to me what you meant by that? I wrote it because it really stuck with me. It really resonated with me.
Well, I think that it resonates because it's the truth of everybody, you know? We spend our whole lives trying to invent ourselves and trying to figure out, you know, what this is, you know, and it's just a collection of abstract ideas, you know, from your ethnic background to your nationality to your, you know, whatever, all of that stuff. Those are all ideas you've been given.
Exactly.
You know, and so when you end up at the end of it, you might be successful, but you're unhappy and you don't know why, because, oh, this thing didn't work. This is not a real thing. It's something I cobbled together. And well, then what is the real thing? And the real thing is everything.
It's so interesting that you said that. The only reason that you're Jim Carrey is because your parents called you that. You could have been anybody.
Exactly.
I always think about that about myself. Yeah. I'm Jeffrey Gurian because my parents chose that name. I'm DNA. I'm a bunch of cells, man.
Yeah, and Jeffrey means go eat them up.
It's so
Jeffrey
cool.
means make us look good.
Suddenly, 6 years ago, at a time when I was trying to heal a broken heart, I decided, well, maybe I'll paint.
When your heart is in love, you're floating, weightless. But when you lose that love, you have to re-enter the atmosphere. And it can get pretty rough. You're just bouncing off one molecule and onto the next.
The energy that surrounds Jesus is electric. I don't know if Jesus is real. I don't know if he lived. I don't know what he means, but the paintings of Jesus are really my desire to convey Christ consciousness. I wanted you to have the feeling when you looked in his eyes that he was accepting of who you are. I wanted him to be able to stare at you and heal you from the painting. You can find every race in the face of Jesus. And I think that's how every race imagines Jesus. They imagine him as their own.
And he has his life and his career to prove it. But he does think that people who express strong feelings about spirituality run the risk of being labeled a kook.
You know, what the hell?
I don't think about it. No. Happiness is the weather, man. Happiness is about happenstance. It's about what's happening. So, yeah, if you want to wait for something cool to happen to be happy, that's great. You get sad when sad things happen. That's all weather. I know I'm never going to be in a perpetual state of happiness. I've given that up for sure. But freedom from who it's happening to, I guess, is where I'm at. I no longer believe that I exist. So every once in a while I get caught up in the story because it's really convincing.
I know you're an artist. I would say you could have painted something like that. I've seen your artwork. You're very talented.
I do love to paint. Yes,
you do.
I do. Yeah, I brought some stuff to paint with. If you want to see me paint a little something.
Where are you going to paint?
Pretty much anywhere. I could do something over here, maybe.
On our floor?
Yeah, why not?
With what kind of paint? Like permanent paint?
I don't know. Could be. Could be. You never know.
All right.
This is my favorite part. Woo!
He's not kidding. All right. All right, we'll take a break. Fantastic.
Sorry.
We'll be back with Jim Carrey and see what he's painting. That's Jim Carrey's artwork on our floor that will be there forever now.
Forever and ever.
All right. And
yep.
So it is the characters. It's Dumb and Dumber 2.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's me and Jeff. That's right. Yep. It's just another shameless plug.
That will be there forever. I don't know why more people haven't thought of that when they come on the show.
Celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating icons. Boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
Leave darkness behind. And it takes a champion to make that decision. I don't think you understand who you're dealing with. I have no limits.
The people. I want to say one more thing. Seriously. God has loved all of us through you guys my entire life. I swear. I would see what that's like, that space. Out at the edge of the envelope with the blue devil. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It really is, especially when I'm absent from it.
Do you feel like you're separated from the rest of the world and what's going on?
No, not separated at all. In fact, it's the exact opposite.
Then we make one of two decisions. We either decide to go through the gate of resentment, which leads to vengeance, which leads to self-harm, which leads to harm to others, or we go through the gate of forgiveness, which leads to grace.
This. And one day I read something from Buddha that said that all spirituality is about relieving suffering. And I suddenly realized that's what I'm doing in the other room.
You create yourself at the beginning of your life to fit in and to be accepted and to be admired, and then at some point, maybe, if you're lucky, things start splitting at the seams now. The whole thing's tumbling down, and you're free.
Like many of you, I was concerned about going out into the world and doing something bigger than myself, until someone smarter than myself made me realize that there is nothing bigger than myself. And don't worry if you miss your cue, because there's always doors opening. They keep opening. And when I say life doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, I really don't know if that's true. I'm just making a conscious choice to perceive challenges as something beneficial so that I can deal with them in the most productive way. You'll come up with your own style. That's part of the fun. Oh, and why not take a chance on faith as well? Take a chance on faith. Not religion, but faith. Not hope, but faith. I don't believe in hope. Hope is a beggar. Hope walks through the fire and faith leaps over it. And after you walk through those doors today, you will only ever have two choices: love or fear. Choose love, and don't ever let fear turn you against your playful heart.
That's pretty. So funny, I get so stuck when I'm trying to choose colors, but when I just grab them, it's cool.
I don't know what painting teaches me. I know that it just frees me. Free from the future, free from the past, free from regret, free from worry. Something inside you is always telling a story. I believe every single thing that you see and hear is talking to you. You know, the bottom line with all of this, whether it's performance or it's art or it's sculpture, is love. We want to show ourselves and have that be accepted. I love being alive, and the art is the evidence of that.